Former Russian Minister of Transport, Roman Starovoit, has been found dead. Ferry sinks ship in Croatian port as violent storm paralyzes Split. Dinner to tragedy at luxury Italian restaurant. 1 dead, 10 injured. Tragedy in Bergamo. Man pulled into aircraft engine. Volcanic eruption on Flores. Evacuations and flight cancellations in Bali. 18,000 people trapped by wildfires in Catalonia as flames ravage Spain. Former Russian Minister of Transport, Roman Starovoit, has been found dead, according to the Russian Investigative Committee. Initial reports suggest he died from a gunshot wound, possibly self-inflicted. The discovery came just hours after President Vladimir Putin dismissed Starovoit from his post. No official reason was given for the dismissal. His position has been filled by Deputy Transport Minister Andrei Nikitin. Authorities say they are working to determine the exact circumstances surrounding his death. Starovoit was appointed Minister of Transport in May 2024. Prior to that, he served nearly 6 years as governor of Russia's Kursk region, a territory that, in August of last year, was partially occupied by Ukrainian forces during a surprise offensive. Only recently has Moscow regained most of the area, though Kyiv claims it still controls a small portion of Russian territory. Starovoit's predecessor, Alexei Smirnov, served for a brief period before being arrested in April and charged with embezzling funds allocated for building fortifications along the Ukrainian border. According to the Russian daily Kommersant, Starovoit was expected to face charges in the same corruption case. The exact time of his death remains unclear. Andrei Kartopolov, head of the State Duma's Defense Committee, told RTVI television that the death occurred quite some time ago. Earlier on Monday, prior to the public announcement of Starovoit's death, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov was asked whether the dismissal indicated that President Putin had lost confidence in the minister. He replied, "A loss of confidence is referred to as such when it occurs. That wording was not used in the presidential decree." Ferry sinks ship in Croatian port as violent storm paralyzes Split. A powerful storm struck the Croatian coastal city of Split early Tuesday morning, bringing chaos both on land and at sea. Hurricane-force winds tore roofs off buildings, uprooted trees, and caused severe flooding. Within minutes, the city was brought to a standstill. The situation in the port was equally dramatic. Pushed by strong gusts of wind, the ferry Petar Hektorovich broke free from its moorings and drifted uncontrollably, colliding with 2 nearby vessels, the large catamaran Krilo and a smaller wooden tourist boat, which sank as a result. The ferry's rope snapped and the wind took control. It first struck the catamaran and then the tourist ship. Thanks to the quick thinking and composure of both crews, a major disaster was avoided, said Zvonimir Perkusic, port director in Split, in an interview with the newspaper Slobodna Dalmatia. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. Emergency teams were immediately dispatched to prevent water pollution and secure the area. Flooded streets, flying motorcycles, total chaos in Split. While the port was in crisis, the rest of the city faced its own emergency. Streets, including parts of the historic Old Town, were completely flooded. Power outages affected multiple neighborhoods, while motorcycles, trees, and construction debris were tossed around by the violent winds. According to local reports, extensive damage was recorded across the city, including to the stadium of Hajduk Split Football Club, where parts of the roof were torn off. The Daily Jutarnji list described the situation as follows. Split has never seen a storm like this. It's unprecedented. Traffic is blocked across the city, and all emergency services are on the streets. Elevators stopped working with people trapped inside, boats drifted in open water, and the sound of emergency sirens echoed through the city for hours. Croatia counts the cost as residents call for help. Now, Split is beginning to assess the full extent of the damage. Police and rescue services have received hundreds of reports, from fallen trees and damaged vehicles to flooded basements and collapsed roofs. The damage is clearly massive, local media report. Residents are calling for help in large numbers as the city begins the long road to recovery after one of the most destructive mornings in its recent history. Dinner turns to tragedy at luxury Italian restaurant. 1 dead, 10 injured. A tragic incident unfolded on Monday evening in the seaside town of Terracina, Italy. The roof of the Michelin-starred restaurant Essenza collapsed during dinner service, killing 1 person and injuring 10 others. The victim was 31-year-old sommelier Mara Severin, a member of the restaurant staff. Among the injured are both patrons and employees. 3 people remain in critical condition and are currently being treated at Fiorini Hospital in Terracina. The collapse occurred around 10 p.m. when the restaurant was nearly full. Many guests were also seated outside. Witnesses reported that 2 separate structural collapses may have occurred. Essenza, led by head chef Simone Nardoni, was awarded a Michelin star in 2023 for its refined cuisine and service. According to the Italian news agency ANSA, the collapse may be linked to strong winds and unstable weather conditions that have swept across Italy in recent days. Although no rain was falling at the time in Terracina, the entire Latina region was under a yellow-level weather alert. Prosecutors have launched an investigation to determine the cause of the incident. Authorities continue to examine the scene and gather evidence. Tragedy in Bergamo. Man pulled into aircraft engine. A fatal accident occurred on Friday morning at Milan-Bergamo Airport in northern Italy. A man died after being pulled into the engine of a taxiing aircraft on the runway. According to Italian media reports, the incident took place as an Airbus A319-1111 operated by Volotea was preparing for takeoff on a scheduled flight to Asturias, Spain. The Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera reports that the identity and role of the victim remain unclear. It is not yet known whether the man was an airport worker, a passenger, or an unauthorized individual who accessed the airfield. The aircraft was reportedly maneuvering outside of the designated parking area when the tragedy occurred. Airport operator SACBO announced that all flights were suspended at 10:20 a.m. local time due to an issue on the taxiway. Air traffic resumed at noon after a temporary shutdown. Authorities, including forensic teams and prosecutors, are now conducting a full investigation into the circumstances of the incident. The airport has confirmed full cooperation and is providing surveillance footage and relevant documentation. Volcanic eruption on Flores, evacuations and flight cancellations in Bali. A powerful eruption has occurred on Indonesia's Flores Island, where Mount Lewatobi Laki-Laki suddenly erupted, prompting evacuations and disrupting air travel to the popular tourist destination of Bali. Massive eruption triggers regional alert. The eruption began around 11 a.m. local time on July 7. The volcano ejected a column of ash and gas reaching up to 18 kilometers into the atmosphere. The deafening explosion was heard from miles, causing panic among locals and visitors. Lava flows and hot ash clouds advanced up to 5 kilometers from the crater. Authorities raised the alert to the highest, level 4, and began evacuating residents and tourists from the danger zone. No casualties have been reported, but volcanologists warn that more eruptions may follow. Flight disruptions across the region. The volcanic ash cloud has posed serious risks to aviation safety. Airlines, including Qantas and Virgin Australia, have suspended flights to Bali as a precaution. Passengers are advised to follow airline updates and prepare for possible delays. Despite the concerns, Bali's main airport remains operational, according to Australia's ABC News. Volcanic ash can severely damage jet engines, emphasized Muhammad Wafid from Indonesia's Geological Agency. Warnings for locals and tourists. Officials have urged the public to stay at least 6 kilometers away from the volcano. There is also a heightened risk of lahars, fast-moving mudflows composed of volcanic ash and water, especially in valleys and along riverbeds near the volcano. Lewatobi Laki-Laki is considered one of Indonesia's most unpredictable volcanoes. Its last major eruption in November 2024 claimed the lives of 9 people. Indonesia sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire and is home to over 120 active volcanoes. 18,000 people trapped by wildfires in Catalonia as flames ravage Spain. Spain is facing a growing environmental crisis as wildfires continue to rage across the country. In the province of Tarragona, Catalonia, approximately 18,000 residents have been cut off and placed under a movement ban due to spreading flames. Dozens of people have already been evacuated from the highest risk areas. Hottest summer in history fuels disaster. After experiencing the hottest June on record, Spain has entered a state of high alert in multiple regions. Soaring temperatures, dry conditions, and strong winds have created the perfect storm for wildfires to erupt and spread uncontrollably. Catalonia, among other regions, has declared the highest level of fire risk. Emergency response in Catalonia. The most recent fire broke out on July 7 in a remote mountainous area near the village of Pauls. Difficult terrain and gusty winds have made firefighting efforts extremely challenging. According to local authorities, fire crews managed to prevent the blaze from crossing the Ebro River, an outcome that would have drastically worsened the situation. 2 people died on July 1st as a result of earlier wildfires in the region. "We've never seen anything like this before," said terrified residents. "The fire surrounded our homes. We had nowhere to go. The situation remains critical." Spanish emergency services are urging residents to stay alert and follow all evacuation orders and safety instructions.